Hey guys, this is Jason Choyo, and I'm back with another video. So, I got something to tell y'all about my story time that I just uploaded. If you have not seen it, go watch it. I'm gonna have it in the link below, or the comment section below. I'm gonna add a link to it. So, this is a little message to you guys that I've been, complaining and saying, oh, I don't want you to say this part in the story, blah blah blah. Like for the 1,000th time, your name is gonna be anonymous. Your name is gonna be covered up. I'm not gonna expose who you are. The purpose is to tell my story and to get this guy out there, pretty much. So, I came to the conclusion that since y'all want to get so butthurt and y'all want to be like, oh, y'all, you're like talking about my problems and whatever, blah blah blah, I decided to hold back on the story time. But when I do tell my story time, I don't want to hear no problems in my DMs, because I'm going to tell the story how it is. I'm going to tell the story how it is. I don't give a fuck what you guys say. I don't give a crap if you guys go onto my DMs, complain. If you don't like it, and I said this in my Instagram story, if you don't like it, unfollow me, unsubscribe, bye, peace. I don't really care. So, what I am going to do though, however, is I'm going to tell the ending part of this story, because I feel like the ending part of the story is important. So, let's just say, so I had this friend. Me and this friend in the team I was in, we were up here. That's all I gotta say, and that's all I'm going to say. If you don't know what up here means, I'm sorry. I can't get into depth detail because that's a problem too. Me and her we were very, very close, And around December of 2017, she was talking to Scott. Now, I was at the movie with Scott and I saw her. Okay, then this was the time I was really depressed. I was very, very depressed. I wish I could explain it to you guys because I couldn't tell the rest of the parts of my story because it's so many fucking problems. But just say I was depressed. I was really, really depressed. And I would have like these bad episodes. I would be crying, I'd just be depressed. So my friend at the time, she was talking to Scott. Now, I was at the movie with Scott and Scott had told me this. I didn't know how to think. I didn't know how to feel. I was like, oh, well, I told this girl about all the things that he's done to me and why I'm depressed, and that he's the main like cause of my depression, why I feel so insecure and why I'm so sad. He's the main cause of it. I told her this, and yet she's like texting back and forth with each other, ending him some pics, like some nude pics. Like, Scott didn't know that I had told some people about like how I felt and like the things I was going through. He didn't know at the time, so he was very unaware that she knew about it. But she knew full in-depth detail how I felt, because I would go to her crying. I would cry to her. She knew how I felt. So when Scott told me about like them talking or whatever, I was like, oh, I had to play it off like I was cool or whatever. But like I went to the bathroom in the movies and I cried because I was like, what the fuck? I feel so betrayed. I fucking cried my eyes out. I cried. I fucking cried. I was like, I cannot believe she's doing this shit. My nail fell off. I cannot believe she's doing this shit. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I was just very upset. So fast forward to that night, like more than that night, I remember that I went to Brittany's house, and Brittany, I was there with her and I told her everything. Now the things I told Brittany is a huge play into what happened. So the things I told Brittany was, the bitch, she's fake. I cannot believe she would do this to me. I am so upset and I'm hurt. All while crying to her. Those are the 5 things I called the girl that was doing things with Scott. And remember those things, because it's gonna come into play. I think I said I can't trust her. I can't trust her. That's what I said. I couldn't trust her. And I couldn't after that. I just couldn't. Because I told you all the shit and you're gonna go and do things with the guy that I did things with. Anyways, fast forward to about like, I wanna say the end of my senior year. Brittany ends up dropping me for whatever freaking reason. I know why, but I can't tell you guys why, because it's gonna start more fucking issues and be too depth in detail. She ended up dropping me. I was hurt because that was my best friend's kindergarten, whatever. Me and the girl, we still continued to talk. Now, me, Brittany, and this girl, we were like the trio. We were like the clique. So like once I stopped talking to her, it was like, okay, we both share this like a mutual friend, and we're not talking. So me and Brittany shared this girl as a mutual friend. Now, I graduated and everything, I still was talking to Brittany. Now, at this time, Brittany and Scott, they started to do things together, and I was fully aware of it this time, because at the time I was like, okay, it's fine, it's okay. They ended up doing things, you know, inappropriate shit. They ended up, you know, getting all disgusting and shit. So the girl was like, oh, does Brittany know about us? I had honestly forgot that I had cried to Brittany, and it was honestly, like, I honestly had forgotten that I had cried to Brittany and said all that shit. I had forgotten. So I told her, no, I don't think Brittany would be aware. But I thought about it and I was like, oh shit, Brittany does know about it. Because I told her, I went to her, I was crying and I was upset. So I was like, oh shit, she does. But I didn't think it would be a huge deal if she found out. Because I mean, at this point, like with Scott, like, he'll fuck anything alive, he'll fuck anything that's walking, he'll fuck anything. So it's like, damn, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. I'm gonna just fast forward to the day that the girl dropped me. The girl dropped me, and the strangest thing about her dropping me was the night before, me and her were talking just fine. Just fine. Like, no problem. Me and her were cracking up, like just dying of laughter uncontrollably through Snapchat. I wake up the next day and she's like not there. And I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck? She's not there. She completely just blocked me. She disappeared. She blocked me. She blocked me off everything. She blocked my number. I'm like, what the actual fuck? Now fast forward, the things that Scott would tell this girl, Scott would tell this girl, don't hang out with Jason, don't tell Jason this, don't tell Jason that. Knowing, and he knows that this is my friend. I've known her way longer than I've known Scott. And just the fact that Scott would tell her to not tell me things, it's like, what kind of fuckery it is my best friend, okay? I'm not gonna have a guy tell my best friend not to say anything that she tells me because he's fucking around with her. Okay, and I'm not Boo Boo the Fool. Like it was pretty obvious, like the things that he would tell her not to tell me. I already knew about it. It was fucking obvious. I'm not dumb. I wasn't born tomorrow. I'm not stupid. He ended up dropping me, and I was so fucking upset. Like, I was crying. I was like, what the fuck did I do? Like, why does this shit keep happening to me? What the fuck is going on? So I remember I contact my other close friend from the team, and I told her, hey, can you do me the favor that I need you to like try and ask her what's wrong or whatever. She ended up telling my friend, she ended up telling her that I've been talking shit about her behind her back, and that can't anymore with me, like she's done with me, like she loves me a lot but she's done with me, blah blah blah, and this, that, and the third. I'm like, okay. And then my friend's trying to tell me, oh, well, you shouldn't have talked bad about her, blah blah. Like, I don't remember, I don't recall what she's talking about. It's so hard to understand how a person feels when you don't know what they're talking about. I had honestly forgotten about the time that I went to her house and I was just crying. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is she talking about? I was so confused. Like, I have not ever talked crap about her in like months, and I didn't even consider that talk like crap about her, because at the time the things I told Brittany was true. Who does that to their friend? Okay, so damn, I was like, well, what is she talking about? So like, I went months and months and months like not knowing what she's talking about. And then I called Scott. The same day that she dropped me, I called Scott. And Scott was like, oh no, I don't know what happened, blah blah blah. Oh no, I'm not around her right now, blah blah blah. Comes to find out, that motherfucker was lying, because that bitch was right there in the room with him, and she heard my voice. And here's how I found all this shit out. The day that Scott dropped me was November 11th. The day that Scott dropped me, I had posted a little Snapchat crying my eyes out, like, oh my god, I'm so tired of this shit. Like, I had to vent. She saw my story, okay? And I'm like, why would she see my story unless she knows what happened? So I DM'd her. I'm like, well, I noticed that you saw my story. And she's like, yeah, I know what happened, blah blah blah. Long like DM or whatever, but I got the closure I needed, because she told me that Brittany had saw that me and her were still friends. So Brittany told her all the things I told Brittany when I went to her house crying to her, calling her a bitch, I can't trust her, and she's faking all this other shit. And she had gotten upset by that, so she decided to block me. And she got all angry that she had to block me. And she told my friend that was like being like the communicator between us, she told her that I always have to make up excuses. Excuses, bitch. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And after I got this closure, I was like, wait a minute. Why do I feel bad? I went through all this time feeling like shit and crying, whatever, for what? And here's why I don't feel bad right now. Let me take my glasses off. This is why I don't feel bad. This is why I don't feel bad no damn more. And I'm not shedding a tear over there. And I don't care about why she dropped me anymore. Because if you're gonna drop me because of that and you're gonna get mad because of that, you know that you're doing something fucking wrong. You know good and damn well that you're doing something wrong. You feel guilty with yourself. And I hated how she tried to guilt trip me and he tried to guilt trip me. But bitch, no. No. No, 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 no. Because you were still doing things with him even after you dropped me. You were still doing things, still fucking him. Had an STD scare from him, knowing all the things I told you. I was depressed, sad, crying, all the things I told you. You were still hooking up with this guy. You weren't a true friend, because if you were my true friend from the start, you wouldn't have done that. And that's why I said what I had to say about you. That's why I called you a bitch and I called you fake and I can't trust you. And yeah, it still applies to this very day. And I told her this. I was like, that's why I said what I said, because I felt hurt that you were doing that with the guy that I was talking to. And he apologized and everything. But I found out some other shit. I mean, I would accept her apology. I do accept her apology. But I found out some other shit by the grapevine. Not saying who, because it's gonna start some shit. Somebody told me that she was still, you know, doing things with the guy, and she had like another scare. And that was after I had like gotten the closure from her, and after I stopped talking to Scott, and Scott had dropped me. So I'm like, my goodness, she's still doing this shit. Like, okay. So like after that point, I'm like, you know what, I can't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't accept her apology. I'm done with you. Because if that was my true friend from the start, you wouldn't have done that shit. And the fact that I talked about you in a bad way at that time, and you're getting hurt by that, and you drop me and you block me. You blocked me and you dropped me because you felt guilty, and you knew that what you did at the time hurt me. And you can't accept the fact that you're doing something fucked up. So you decided to drop me and have me feel guilty about it for months. I will never forgive you for that shit. Will not ever, because I felt bad for months. I don't have to feel bad. Yes, and I will say it again. You were a bitch, you're fake, and I can't trust you. Who does that to their friend? Who does that? Who does that? I'll fucking wait. Who does that shit? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pose like, oh, I'm like a good friend, but I have not done you like that ever. And I have not ever. I dare you to come and say that I've done something wrong to you like that. Because, bitch, I've never done anything wrong to you. Never. And you did me dirty. Because I've never done nothing wrong to you. I'm glad when you were crying about your breakup, I was there. You cried on me. Yet, you do this shit. And then you get mad. And then you block me because you found out something that I had said during the time when I first found out that you and Scott were talking. I don't get how that plans out. And to Brittany, I think that that was pretty, like not fake. I just think that that was fucked up of her to have told her this, because she saw that me and our mutual friend were still friends. And she got angry at that. To me, that she tried to dig for anything to tell her to try to get us to not be friends anymore. And it worked, because she got mad, and Brittany just was like, okay, well, let me think of like him talking shit about her. Oh, the time that he was depressed about her and Scott. I'ma tell her that. And that's what she did. And she ended up dropping me because of that. So I just don't appreciate that Brittany did that because I was depressed at the time, and I told her things because I went to her house and I thought that was my outlet to speak to Brittany, and I trusted Brittany. And yet she told her some things that I had said to try to get us to not be friends anymore, and it worked. But in the end, I ended up not giving a fuck because she's still fucking around with this guy. I mean, from what I hear, she's still fucking around with this guy. She's still fucking around with Scott. And honestly, like, I don't care because she thinks that she's the only one. And in my story time, I was about to explain that you are not the only one, bitch. This whole time that you've been fucking around with Scott, that's probably why you have an STD scare, because he's been with so many other bitches. My co-workers, my friends, people I know. He's been with a bunch of bitches. You are not the only one. Don't ever think a man is sleeping with you when they tell you that, oh, I'm the only one, or you're the only one. Don't ever believe a man. And she fell for it. She hella did. And I'm sitting here right now not giving a fuck that you dropped me anymore. I moved past that, bitch. Moved straight up past that. So this is what I wanted to tell you guys about this story time. What I couldn't fully explain. This is what I wanted to tell you guys. Yeah, that's it. And I will be back with more content, so stay tuned. And yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. And don't ever trust a nigga. Don't ever trust a nigga when they tell you that they love you. Don't ever trust a nigga because they're wrong. Peace.